Okay, so good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody, depending on where you're zooming in. Welcome to this great session that you're having today. As usual, being a Sunday, we meet and we talk about matters health, how we can live a longer, healthier life. And today we are doing it a bit differently. We are talking about farming because we believe that if you farm correctly, then you'll get the right kind of food, which will give you the right kind of nutrition, and you'll avoid a lot of diseases. And today we want to look at how can you do some smart farming. By definition, and according to me, smart farming is farming that gives you high quality food, and it also enables you to make a profit. That is what I call smart farming. Yes, you farm, you get high quality food, and by high quality food, I talk about food that is free of chemical residues. And food that is nutritious to the body. And then on top of that, you are able to double and even triple your produce. And that's what you're going to talk about today. But before we do that, my name is Fred Gichuki. Fred is a director in the wellness field. I joined this field to make some money, but I found that there was issues to do with health. I got excited about health, and I started really getting into health, matters health, and I've been able to touch so many people's lives positively, people who are living longer, healthier lives because of me and because of the company that I represent. And today I'm here to talk about farming and how we can farm in a smart manner. But before we do that, I want us to look at some of the challenges that farmers face today, because farmers have several challenges that they do face. And these are just a few of them. Depleted soils due to runoff and soil erosion. That's just one of the things that farmers are facing today. And you find that our soils have been depleted. And like where I come from in the central province, the farms have been subdivided because every parent has to subdivide the shamba with the number of children they have. So with time, you find very small pieces of land and which are over-cultivated. And at the end of the day, the production keeps on going down and down and down. So you have smaller pieces of land, smaller farms, but the population has really increased. So you find at the end of the day, what is being produced is not enough even for the people on the ground, let alone going out to sell them and make a profit. Then the other challenge is expensive agricultural outputs. I don't need to talk too much about that. There's been a lot of debate about the agricultural inputs, the inputs that you use in the farm, the fertilizers, the fungicides, pesticides, and all that, which have really gone through the roof. Then the other issue is pests and diseases, quite a number, and which have become very resistant to the pesticides and fungicides that people have been using out there, which are really assailing farmers. Unpredictable seasons and dry spell. That has been an issue. And right now we are having too much rain. And again, too much rain is not good for the farmer because it causes waterlogging, and the crops end up yellowing and even dying off. And ultimately, it affects the amount of production that happens in the farm. In fact, the people are now fearing that after these heavy rains, which destroy the crops in the farm due to waterlogging, then there'll be a period of drought and a period of famine because people will not have enough food stored. The harvest will be low. So there's that fear that these rains might cause that. Then over-reliance on chemical-based fertilizers, insecticides, pesticides, and the like. That's also a challenge because, as you all know, anything chemical, I know there's a debate out there about this, but anything that has a chemical in it will definitely have a side effect on the consumer. And as much as possible, it's always good to go organic And one of the reasons why most farmers will not do organic is because they want to get a high yield, because they are doing it to make a profit. And when they are not able to make a high yield, then they'll not be able to pay school fees, they'll not be able to go back again and farm the next season, and many other things. So they end up using chemicals because they are trying to increase the profit in the farm. And you're going to look at how can we be able to address that. Then lack of good education for farmers, that's also a challenge right there. And we believe that the session you're about to do will actually help you a little bit as far as knowing one or two things that you can do to actually improve the amount of produce you get in the farm, improve the output, and really enjoy farming and being a farmer. And at this point, I just want to introduce that gentleman right there. It's called Jerry Brasfield. Jerry is the founder of Neolife International. Neolife is a company, the wellness company that we partner with. And this is a company that has made a positive difference in so many people's lives. And the focus and the mission of Neolife is to make the world a healthier and a happier place. Jerry had asthma at a very young age, and the mom used supplements and he was able to recover. And he saw a gap in the market, and he said, if I've been able to recover because of natural organic supplements, why can't I get in, become a distributor, and grow a business that can be able to touch so many people's lives? And it is under Jerry that we went on through Neolife to actually come up with what we call the Scientific Advisory Board, which has been doing a lot of research and innovation of products. And courtesy of the products of Neolife, a very wonderful product called Supergro was formulated, developed, and is now one of the fastest growing ranges of products in Neolife. And Supergro is just an amazing, amazing product. To start off, I just want to mention this is a product that is natural, it's 100% organic, it has no chemicals in it, and it is actually made from plants. It's actually an organic product. And Supergro is a wonder drop in the true sense of the word. And I'm going to show you how Supergro can sort out the problems that I've just mentioned that farmers are facing today, and how you can be able to increase production in your farm by 2 times, by 3 times when you use Supergro. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can be able to do that. So, so what is Supergro? What is Supergro? Now, Supergro, if you look at the definition, is a multi-purpose agricultural adjuvant specifically formulated to work with modern crop treatments and applications. Yeah. And that's a very important statement because you can see it is specifically formulated to work with modern crop treatments and applications. Because many people ask me questions, Fred, if I'm using Supergro, should I stop using everything else? Will it have a negative impact on whatever else I'm using? Should I first spray these, then later spray Supergro? But the answer is right there. You can actually mix it together with Supergro, and we are going to see how that can work for you. Now, proven results about Supergro. Now, this is based on a research that was done by the Kenya government in conjunction with KARI and also the University of Nairobi, and they gave us this report about Supergro. Now, the first thing about Supergro is that it improves soil penetration of water and makes more water available to the plant. This is absolutely important, especially right now with the rains that we are having. There's too much water in the farm, and farmers are facing the threat of waterlogging. If you spray Supergro, that water sinks to the waterbed, and only enough moisture is left in the soil, and your crops will continue growing comfortably. Now, when the rain stops and the sun comes and it hits up the topsoil, the moisture is able to rise to the surface and your crops continue growing. So this is the right time to spray Supergro. Many people ask me, Fred, it is raining, I need to wait first for it to stop raining, then I spray. No. When it is raining is when you're supposed to apply Supergro en masse so that you can be able to control the amount of moisture in your farm and it will ensure that you'll be able to get a very good harvest at the end of the day. Supergro improves pesticide performance, and you're going to see how that is the case. It improves fungicide performance. It improves the crop yield. I've already mentioned that if you use Supergro and if you use it from planting stage, the best time to start applying Supergro is when you're planting. Actually, for the farmers who want 3 times the harvest, once you have prepared the holes or the trenches and you put your manure and that kind of thing, get in there with Supergro, spray it directly on the soil, even before you plant. That's one way of doing it. The earlier you can do it, the better. Once you have planted and the crops have sprouted, you can spray again, and then you continue spraying it after every once a week or every once in 2 weeks. So, but the resulting effect, if you start from planting stage, you get 3 times the harvest that you're getting before. If you spray a bit late, you get maybe 2 times, or even just an improved yield, but you will not get as much as when you start with Supergro at planting stage. Now, the following diagram illustrates how Supergro works. We talked about optimizing soil penetration of water, reducing water runoff and evaporation. And that is exactly what is happening right now. The topsoil is running off and going to our rivers and lakes. But if you use Supergro, then you'll reduce the amount of topsoil that you'll be losing, even with these heavy rains. Now, that is a plant that is there, and it shows you the normal extent to which the roots of a normal plant that where Supergro has not been used is only able to reach just below the topsoil and is not able to penetrate the lower soil, which is the hard pan. And you find that at the end of the day, the crop is only able to feed on the nutrients which are available on the topsoil. And these nutrients have been leached. Fertilizers have been applied over season after season. So the topsoil tends to be quite acidic because of too much residue of fertilizer. And that is why you find that most farmers, when they grow their crops, you find like if it is maize, is only able to harvest one cob per stem, and the production is rather low. The maize cobs are small, and the crop actually looks yellowish green. Now, when you spray Supergro, Supergro is able to break the hard part. Because when you spray Supergro, then you find that when the moisture comes, whether it is rain, whether it is dew, whatever, that moisture is able to sink and break the hard pan. And the roots of the crops are able to access below the hard pan and access all the nutrients that God put in that soil. And the resulting effect that you find is that the crop will grow rapidly, it will grow faster, you'll harvest faster. If you're harvesting in 3 months, you'll be able to harvest in 2.5 months, and the production increases. In fact, even where there are cases of too much wind for things like maize, you find that the maize will not lodge, it will remain standing strong because the roots become very strong and they sink pretty deep. So that crop is very stable, is able to access nutrients, and at the end of the day, you're able to harvest a very healthy crop. Now, so the water sinks to the waterbed, and it is stored there until the sun shows and starts hitting the topsoil, and this water then rises to the topsoil, and you get a kind of a mulching effect when you use Supergro. So you can see right there that because of breaking the hard pan, Supergro will help to optimize soil penetration of water and also reduce runoff and also evaporation of water. And down there, we talk about Supergro, some of the properties. It's an emulsifier. It breaks the fat. It breaks down the fat. It's an adjuvant. It's a spreader. It's a sticker. It's a wetting agent. And as we go along, we are going to see how that is so. So moving on. Now, Supergro can be used for most crop treatments where water is used, including fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides. So you can actually be able to mix Supergro with all of these. But the benefit that you get when you use Supergro is that Supergro has its own sticker, yeah? And it actually helps if it is a foliar you are spraying or something else that you're putting on that crop, when you mix with pesticides, fungicide, you'll find that the absorption rate is higher when you use Supergro than when you don't use Supergro. And in the case of things like aphids, because it has a natural sticker, it's able to stick on the foliage. And that's why we say that start spraying from the foliage, go down the stem, then spray at the base. Make sure you wet the base, and you find that you'll be able to apply it quite effectively. Now, moving on there, it explains a little bit about what a sticker is. It actually provides better treatment, adhesion, and retention on plant surfaces, and acts like a natural greenhouse for the plant. A penetrant to enable applied fungicides and other applications to be more effective. This is absolutely important for the crop. It improves protection of the crop for longer. The best way to save water is to make unavailable water available to a plant. Now, one of the challenges that farmers face is when there is drought, the issue of ensuring that there is enough moisture in the farm. And if you have a greenhouse, you have to keep on applying and watering the crops. I remember dealing with a farmer, a customer of mine, who has a greenhouse, and she was actually applying water sometimes twice a day. It had become that bad. And she was spending a lot of money in diesel for pumping the water. And after using Supergro, she was now able to go for, she'd actually apply water in that greenhouse only 3 times a week. You can imagine the amount of savings that she got if she was actually applying water sometimes twice a day, to a point whereby she's applying water or irrigating her greenhouse 3 times a week. And then the production increased drastically. In fact, she got more than 3 times the harvest. At one point, she was doing tomatoes. At another point, she was doing, what are they called? Pili hoho, and it worked so well, yeah? So Supergro makes unavailable water available to a plant. Another thing that Supergro does is that, especially during the dry seasons, you can spray Supergro at about 6 o'clock in the evening. It helps to harvest the dew from the atmosphere. So when you wake up in the morning, you find that your farm is wet because of the dew that has been harvested for you by Supergro. In fact, if you put a jerrycan of Supergro outside and you leave it overnight, you'll find that around the jerrycan and on the jerrycan sides up to the level where Supergro is, it will be wet because it's able to attract the dew and condense it, and you find that there is water coming out. Now, Supergro is specially formulated for farmers to get the maximum value of every drop of water from the soil, and that's why we call it a wonder drop. Now, Supergro actually makes water wetter and boosts its ability to deliver life-sustaining moisture deeper into the plant root systems. This not only brings more water to where it is most needed, but reduces water loss to evaporation and runoff. Another thing about Supergro, and this is a very exciting point, when you're fighting weeds, like there's a weed called vagary, that's my vernacular. I don't know what it is called. Some type of grass that is very stubborn. I'll remember the English name and share that. I'm not remembering it right now. But that weed is actually very stubborn. And what you need to do is take weed killer and mix with Supergro. Supergro will enable the weed killer sink into the soil, and it will be able to chop the weeds from root level. And that will mean that for more than a year, you will not see weeds in that farm again. So you can actually mix it with weed killer, and it helps the weeds to the weed killer to sink into the soil and actually sort of uproot the weeds from the roots. And that ensures that you have a whole season without being bothered by weeds. Now, Supergro is quite economical. The dilution rate is 1 ml to a liter of water. So that means 20 ml to 20 liters of water. 5 liters of Supergro, then that's 5,000 liters of water. And it can be used on all crops. Anything that grows, you can mix with Supergro and mix with all agricultural applications. It doesn't select that it's going to work with this one or that one. It's able to work with all kinds of crops. Now let's look at a few tests which were done at the University of Nairobi and the results that they found about Supergro. And they were trying to look at Supergro. And this test took about 4 years. They planted more than 8 times, and they were able to give us this report on what Supergro was able to do. And at this point, we look at a few things. We look at some of the diseases that affect the crops and some of the pests. We talk about angular leaf spot disease, early blight, aphids, and white flies. And they took several crops, mainly horticultural. They took flowers, they took French beans, they took tomatoes, and they were able to record the following results. Now, in the first tests, they took French beans, and they actually were dealing with the angular leaf spot disease. And they took a fungicide, and they applied a fungicide just a normal way with water. And they saw the effectiveness was at about 36%. The decrease of the leaf spot disease was at 36% when they just used fungicide and water alone. Then they took a fungicide and a wetting agent from a competitor. And the competitor's wetting agent was able to improve the infestation of angular leaf spot disease marginally, because from 36%, sorry, it went to 37% reduction in angular leaf spot disease. But when they took the fungicide and they mixed it with Supergro and they applied it on the crops, they realized that the decrease in angular leaf spot disease went up to a whopping 41%. So you can see the difference is huge between what the competitor's wetting agent was able to do and what the fungicide and water alone were able to do and what Supergro did. A big, big difference right there. And that is actually the difference that makes an impact on the final produce that you get from your farm by using a fungicide and Supergro in the case of where you want to decrease angular leaf spot disease. Then they also worked on the same French beans and looked at aphids and white flies. And what they did is that they actually took Supergro the same way. They used the pesticide only, and they applied it on aphids and white flies by itself, and they were able to see the pesticide registering about 62% on white flies and about 40% on aphids. Then they looked at the pesticide and a competitor, and they were able to see it did about 72% and about 62%. But then when they used the pesticide and Supergro, then the results were that much better. As you can see, it went to 80% and over 65% in terms of decrease of the pests on the crop. And again, pests have a direct impact on the amount of produce you get in the farm, because when you have a lot of aphids, a lot of white flies, then it will mean that you'll have a decrease in the amount of production that you are getting from your crop. So you can see there what fungicide and Supergro was able to do as compared to the fungicide alone. Then we went to tomatoes, and the same thing was done with tomatoes, and they used the fungicide only. And in this case, they were looking at early blight, and they saw that it rested at about 30%. Then the fungicide and the competitors' wetting agent went to about 36%, 37%. Then they used fungicide and Supergro. It jumped to 45% decrease in early blight. So that tells you that when you use the fungicide and Supergro, you get better results when you're fighting early blight in your tomatoes. Again, we look at the pests, aphids and white flies, and the same thing was experienced. They used pests only, and they were able to see it went to about 87, 88% for white flies. And then aphids, it was at about 50% reduction. Then when they used pesticide and the competitors' wetting agent, it jumped to about 90% reduction. And then it also, with the white flies and with the aphids, it went to about 50%. But when they used Supergro with the pesticide, then they were able to register over 93% reduction in pests for white flies, and over 62% reduction in aphids. Yeah, right there. So you can actually see there's a big difference when you actually use Supergro and a pesticide when you're fighting pests in the farm. Then we look at maximizing crop yield. How did that work, and how do the profits increase? And in this case, we are looking at a situation where there's fungicide and water only for French beans, and you can see it rested at about 22%. That is a crop yield increase. And when you use the fungicide and Supergro, you can see the crop yield jumped and went all the way to about 36, 37% increase when they use Supergro and the fungicide. And that's what I was saying, that when you use Supergro with a fungicide, definitely the yield improves, yeah? And they looked at, again, the yield. What is the impact of the yield when you use a pesticide only? And you can see it was at about 10% increase. But when you use Supergro and the pesticide, it went all the way to about 34% increase in the yield. And they went on now to do this on tomatoes. And again, the same thing was experienced. Pesticides only were at about 33, 34%. But when they used pesticide and Supergro, there was a jump to over 43% increase in the profits. Then again, we look at fungicide and Supergro. And here we are dealing with pests. No, this is early blight, actually, early blight. And you can see the increase in profit, whereas using the fungicide only, we were at about 30%. By using Supergro, we were resting at 50% increase in profits. So you can see the difference. You can see the difference that Supergro actually work. And the other pest that was experimented on is red spider mite. And you can see the damage that red spider mite is able to do on rose flowers. And that significantly messes up flowers. And then we look at this experiment that was done here, where they used pesticide, insecticide alone to be able to fight the red spider mite. And they were able to find that there was a decrease of pests by about 30% by using a competitor's insecticide. And when they used the insecticide and Supergro, then there was an increase to about 43%, 43% reduction in red spider mite where rose flowers are concerned. So you can see there's a big difference when you use Supergro than when you don't use Supergro. You find that the results that you get are quite amazing. The other issue that they dealt with was powdery mildew, and they were looking again, and they used a fungicide from a competitor. They were able to register about 22% reduction or decrease in early blight, which is powdery mildew. And they used a fungicide and Supergro, and there was a whooping about 35 or 33% decrease in early blight when you use fungicide with Supergro than when you use a competitor's product. So you can see for yourself the difference that Supergro actually does to the crop. A quick summary on what Supergro does and the benefits of Supergro and why Supergro is so unique and placed to help you do some smart farming in your farm. Number one, it's very versatile. You get the most from water and crop treatment products. And like I was saying, when you're using Supergro, if you're getting 3 bags of fertilizer, with Supergro, you will only need 1. In fact, what I've found with many of my customers who have used Supergro, they reach a point whereby they decide to use Supergro by itself for a season or 2 with manure so that they can be able to utilize the residue of fertilizer that lies in the soil. As you keep on applying fertilizer season in, season out, your soil becomes acidic. And that the fact that it has become acidic means that you end up getting less and less production in the farm. But when you now decide to use manure and Supergro for a season or 2, you are able to now, Supergro is able to reactivate the residue of fertilizer in the soil. The crop is able to utilize it, and the pH of the soil starts coming down. So if you do that, you can be able to regain and recapture that soil by lowering the pH, which will have a direct impact on the production of that particular piece of land. Now, Supergro is quite economical. It's concentrated formula. You put 1 ml to a liter of water. But again, here you can also do something else. Now, it depends on the type of soil. If you are dealing with black cotton soils, which can be a bit stubborn, or the sandy soils, then you can do, instead of doing 20 ml of Supergro, you can actually double that and do 40 ml. And you still have an allowance up to about 60 ml for 20 liters of water. And what that does, especially like right now when it is raining so heavily, it helps in breaking the soil more, so that now you get more water sinking to the waterbed and you're able to combat waterlogging. I remember a case of a customer of mine. She's a principal in a school, and this lady was having a challenge with waterlogging in her farm. And I told her, just use Supergro. Take Supergro, spray in that area that water has flooded, and leave it there, see what happens. So she did that. She sprayed Supergro directly into the water. And in the morning when she woke up, there was no water in that section of her farm. And she was so amazed. She couldn't believe it, because it had really troubled her over many years. Anytime it rained, the water would lie there and it would stay there for so long, and mosquitoes would start bothering her and that kind of thing. But she was able to clear that water. She could not believe it. So, but you have to use a slightly higher concentration, 40 ml or 60 ml, depending to 20 liters of water dilution, and you spray in that particular section where there's a bit of waterlogging, and you'll find that the water will actually sink to the waterbed. So it is safe and easy to use and handle. It is non-toxic, non-caustic, non-flammable. That's extremely important. It's multi-purpose for both indoor and outdoor plants. Then it is also has a proven performance, and that's very, very important. Then again, it's an emulsifier, it's an adjuvant, it's a spreader. It's able to spread any kind of fertilizer you put in, or any kind of pesticides, fungicides that you're using. It's a wetting agent. It makes water wetter. Okay. Now, other properties of Supergro. Supergro is an agricultural wetter and sticker that improves retention of spray on plant surface and enhances distribution of spray over plant foliage. It reduces surface tension of water or spray mixture, thus improving wetting properties. Supergro improves the spreading properties of insecticide. There's somebody writing on my screen, kindly desist from doing that, kindly. It reduces surface tension of spray mixture, thus improving wetting properties. Supergro improves the spreading properties of pesticides and fertilizer, thus improving their efficacy. It may also be used for cleaning, spraying equipment. You can actually, when you, let's say, for example, you sprayed Rindomil and you want to put something else, you can clean out your spray with the Supergro, and then you can use the other farm input that you want to put. Mixing instructions: fill a container with water, add 1 ml of Supergro per liter, agitate gently, and spray. There are several ways you can do that. You can use it for drip irrigation. You can apply it manually by pouring it out on the crop. I've done that. You just mix it with water and you pour it directly, or you even take leaves and you just sprinkle, and it still does a very, very good job. Yeah. So this is the standard mixture we've talked about, but like I said, you can double this and you can even triple it, depending on what you're doing. But a word of caution, you should not spray more than once a week. Yeah. You should spray, maximum should be once a week or once in 2 weeks, but not more than once a week. A few testimonies about Supergro. I know there are quite a number. I know that people on the call, we have many people who have used Supergro and registered incredible, incredible results. If you are here and you're a guest, I know the person who invited you has testimonies upon testimonies of people who have used Supergro and they have registered very, very incredible results. I can tell you of one. There's one of my distributors who used to be a farm extension officer, and she's based in Nyahururu, and she does large-scale farming of wheat and maize. We are talking 30 acres, 50 acres and above. And she does that for several people. And some people contract her to do it for them commercially. And last season, when there was a big problem with rain, she decided they were going to use Supergro alone and manure. And she was able to enlist several farmers in the area. And they were able to farm with Supergro. Now, the results they got were quite exciting. Production went up, and the quality of produce was just superb. And this lady, I remember sharing with me about the maize that they harvested when they were trying to do stacking, putting the maize together after the harvest. They could not, the farm hands could not carry the maize by themselves. They had to hold one stem of maize, 2 people, to carry it across the farm so that they can be able to stack it. That's how heavy it was. And the stem was quite huge, and the maize had developed pro roots, so they were quite strong. And of course, the production increased. Just amazing what Supergro does. And she told me that farmers were saving, in a case where they were spending more than 70,000 shillings on fertilizer, they would actually spend on just 1 jerrycan of Supergro. And instead of spending 70,000, they're able to get 1 jerrycan of Supergro. Even if they got just 1 jerrycan, and let's give it even 11,000 or 10,000 shillings that they spend on the jerrycan. That jerrycan, you cannot compare that with spending 70,000 shillings on fertilizers on the farm. The savings that they got were incredible, and the results that they got were even quite exciting. So it's amazing what Supergro can do. Another testimony is a customer of mine in, I think, Makueni area. He sprayed Supergro on his maize crops, and what he got was just amazing. Sorry, please stop writing on my screen. Kindly stop writing on my screen. I believe you are all adults and this is not acceptable. Kindly stop writing on my screen. You can use it on avocados. You can use it on any kind of crop that you are dealing with out there. Okay, coffee. Coffee does extremely well. I remember a case of a farmer who harvested about 50 bags of coffee, and the neighbor harvested 100 bags. Now, the one who harvested 50 bags had a smaller farm. So she was able to get only 50 bags from her farm. The guy who got 100 bags had a big farm. But when they went to the factory, the one who had 50 bags of coffee had more kilos than the one who had 100 bags of coffee. I mean, it was just quite amazing, yeah? Then we have, that's showing you about maize and what maize can do. We're talking about beans. Beans do very well. Was it yesterday? The day before yesterday, I was talking to one of my customers, again in Nyahururu, and she was telling me about what Supergro does for her and beans, and she's so excited. And she was telling me the production she gets is more than triple what she was getting before. And how she's farming everything from onions, beans, you name it, maize. She's doing everything, and the results are quite good. You can see what Supergro does that for tubers. Tubers do very well with Supergro. And like I said, Supergro will work for any crop out there. Tomatoes, you can see what happens with tomatoes. They become big, they become juicy, they become very tasty. And that's one thing about Supergro. The food becomes quite tasty because it's able to get the nutrients that are lying in the soil. So it is something that you really need to try out. You really need to start using in your farm. I believe all of us are farmers, either directly or indirectly. If you're not a direct farmer, your mom is, your uncle is, your cousin is, introduce them to Supergro, and you'll be able to see what Supergro can do for you. So that brings me to the end of my presentation right there, as far as what Supergro does and how it makes a difference in the farm. And like I said, it's all about smart farming. And by definition, you're saying that smart farming is farming whereby you are able to make maximum profit, but you are able to use organic and natural products, and that will not harm you or on the environment. And at the end of the day, you're smiling all the way to the bank. And I tell you, if you use Supergro, and those who have used Supergro have actually confirmed that this product is amazing, that it actually makes farming better. You actually enjoy farming. Whether you plant and the rains disappear midstream, you will still harvest because of the water that has been stored in the soil. Or you will still harvest because you'll be able to harvest the dew by spraying Supergro. So it's amazing what Supergro can do. And our farmers are experiencing and coming up with innovations in the field, some of which I cannot even discuss at this point because they are not scientifically proven. But farmers have been able to try out several things, and they've gotten some incredible results. And especially because the product is organic, then they're able to really experiment with it and see how it can be able to work for them. Now, as we finish this session, I just want to mention, for the sake of the guests who are on the call, Supergro is available. The person who invited you can be able to get it for you. But you have a choice. You can either buy it directly from him, or you can decide to join and become a distributor and start buying it directly from the company. If I were you, I would register immediately with Neolife. Registration only costs you 8,700 shillings. There's an option of 11,000, depends on what you want to do. The person who invited you will be able to explain to you the difference with that. There's another registration of 9,100 if you want to have the detergents. But the person who invited you will be able to explain to you the difference between those two entry points of registering with Neolife. Once you have registered, then you get up to 30% discount on Supergro and other products that Neolife produces. And you'll be able to make some decent profit from the Supergro by itself, even before you touch other products. And I tell you, when you do that, your neighbors are going to ask you questions when you use Supergro. One of my customers, and he also became a distributor in the sides of Ravine, was able to use Supergro in his farm. And all the farmers started asking him, what are you doing? How are you using that? And as a result, they wanted to use Supergro. I told him, instead of me selling to you so that you can sell to other people, why don't you join Neolife, become a distributor, start buying for yourself, and then you can be supplying your customers on the ground. And that is exactly what you did. And the benefit of joining is that apart from the profit that you make, you are also paid a bonus at the end of the month by Neolife as a profit share from the sales that you have gotten. So you make money two ways when you join Neolife. You make profits by retail profits, direct sales, but you also get paid a bonus at the end of the month based on the volumes that you have used and even sold. And that's just amazing. So if you're out there and you're just using the product Supergro as a customer, as a consumer, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table because you can start earning from farm inputs. I always say this, the people who sell farm inputs, they make a lot of money from the farming process. But many of them don't even have farms. And you see, for them, whether the crops fail or not fail, they still make money. And you can also get to play in that field by joining Neolife, becoming a distributor, start buying the product directly from Neolife, start getting paid a bonus at the end of every month. And every day you're actually making profits. And I am sure you can imagine you're a farmer, you're making money because of the increased profit you get from the farm. You're making profits because you're selling some Supergro to your neighbors, and you can even sell in smaller quantities for them so that they can be able to buy. And then at the end of the month, to crown it off, you get a bonus from the company based on your purchases. And you can even scale it up and take it a step further. You can decide to build a network of distributors. You can introduce other distributors to start using Supergro, to start selling Supergro, and you will earn a bonus on what they'll be selling, what they'll be using. And so your bonuses start increasing and growing, and it can become a serious business. You can rise in the company, become a director, start earning well over 100,000 Kenya shillings per month as a director, go to World's team, start earning up to 500,000 Kenya shillings. You can even become a president's team member and start traveling the world. I remember one time we went to South Africa, and we were there with there were 4 president's team members from Nigeria who had become president's team members in 1 year because they focused on Supergro. And they were able to grow very fast by supplying Supergro to the farmers. So these are products that really makes a difference in your life. And if you're out there as a guest and you're looking for a side hustle that you can do, this is it. This is it for you. You can join Neolife. We have many other products, not just Supergro. We have health products, we have skincare, we have detergents, we have quite a number of products that you can deal with. And once you get into Neolife, we get to train you on all those things, and you start enjoying the benefits. You make money, you travel. I can tell you I've been able to travel more than 20 countries, courtesy of Neolife. And before Neolife, I didn't even have a passport. So if you're out there and you're looking for a side hustle, this is it for you. You've come to the right place. The person who invited you has opened a door for you. Jump in, get started, and let's work together. And by the end of this year, you'll be smiling all the way to the bank. Now, if you want to know more about the business side of it, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we'll be having a session with Pascal Olo, who is our leader all the way from South Africa. And he'll be sharing with us, how do you make money with these products, with Supergro and the other products of Neolife? How can you become an entrepreneur? How can you become a millionaire? And how can you become a billionaire with Neolife? It is possible. It's been done. It has happened for so many people. It can happen for you. But join us tomorrow at 8 o'clock for the presentation on how you can make money. Otherwise, it was great chatting with you guys. As usual, it's a pleasure. It's always my mission in life to make a positive difference in people's lives. I've dealt with Supergro for more than 20 years. Actually, yeah, well over 20 years that I've been dealing with Supergro. It works. There's no doubt about it. I have never even encountered one customer who registered a negative result as a result of using Supergro. So feel free to use it, sell it, share it widely, and definitely make a positive difference in people's lives. This recording will be available a little bit later today so that you can be able to go through it again and even share it with a friend, a neighbor, a cousin, and let's make the world a healthier and a happier place. So adios. Thank you. Next week we'll be back again and we'll be talking, we'll be having a different topic. Next week we'll be talking about men. We'll be covering men health next week. So all the men out there and all the ladies, make sure you invite all the men to attend that session for next week. And our ladies, you're welcome so that you can learn and share with your menfolk and your sons out there about men health. So thank you so much. God bless you. Have a blessed evening and adios. Bye-bye.